give credit to my guy, Lawrence Jaxson, because he got that answer out of Ashton Jeanty, and then it got aggregated all over the place with no credit to my guy, Lawrence Jaxson.
Come on now.
It just got complete, effing aggregators. Yeah, exactly. They're like the backup producer Pete of the internet. You know what I mean? You just heard me. It's just like it's awful.
Doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
That fantasy
That's about as
basketball matchup
insulted as
could be.
Pete could be in one thing.
I was 15-3 in the regular season.
Yeah,
I deserved to win this league, and now I'm going to lose.
You did steamroll.
I steamrolled at 15-3. I was first place regular season, and now I'm going to lose. And not only am I going to lose, I'm going to lose to backup producer Pete.
And you'll never hear the end of it.
Who I assure you, America, is the most annoying person in our league.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I'm Jay Croucher, Matthew Berry, Lawrence Jaxson,
Why we clapping?
Why we clapping?
For Pete.
Okay. Yeah. Let's back
Backup
up.
producer Pete. Backup producer Pete is our true champion. He won our NBA League of Assholes, Fantasy League of Assholes. His players played.
Yes.
They
played well.
They actually stayed
That's
healthy.
what you liked him to do.
Yeah, and they played well. So super annoying to finish the regular season in the number 1 seed, 15-3, only to lose in the finals. Very annoying 1 week, but this is the life we've chosen. This is the game we play. Pete finished 3rd in the regular season, but
The caveats on Pete's championship season are just ridiculous.
No. But listen. The man's the champion. He's legitimately the champion.
By quite a lot of points, by the way. It's not a good game.
To be clear, he effing steamrolled me in the finals. Like it might have been the most lopsided game all season long. Like just every single one of his players just played awesome, and every single one of my players didn't. They didn't even play.
You got a 61-point triple-double out of Nikola Jokic.
And then he missed the next game, and then in
the rest.
You was pretty much calling it after day one.
Siakam missed 2 games. It's all of it was a disaster.
Tuesday of championship week. Congrats, Pete. Nobody played for me. The group text is just rolling in.
By the way, I was right. By the way, that's how it ended up playing out. Anyway, backup producer Pete sadly is our champion. So congratulations to backup producer Pete. He drinks free today at the happy hour. I mean alone because he's not that particularly pleasant to be around. But so he can.
Sadly to who?
What do you mean sad?
You said he won sadly.
Yeah, sadly to me.
Yeah.
I was talking.
I find it euphoric.
Yeah, he had a lot of supporters in
It's a marvelous victory. It's a victory for the people. This is like when,
this is because I had won the previous 2 championships in our league, and if you thought my level of obnoxious was bad there, if I had done a three-peat, if I had to call Pat Riley and say I need to trademark, I need to license the trademark.
You're trying to top that right now, Matthew.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway. Backup producer Pete, sadly to me, is our champion. Worth noting, boys. Worth noting. Last thing on this, and then we move on to football. It's worth noting. We've got a mock draft coming up. Worth noting that we have done, as a group, collectively, we have done 4 leagues together. We have done 3 seasons of the Fantasy Football League, and we have done the Basketball League now as a group. And Pete has won 2 of those 4 leagues, and I have won 2 of those 4 leagues. So Pete and I sent out a challenge to the entire league saying, somebody else step up for the love of God. It's getting boring between me and Pete.
I get you back in our WNBA league coming up. That's what I'm going to win.
Well, to be fair, there's a DeMar Hamlin-sized asterisk next to the first Pete championship, given that the Bengals-Bills game, I think, got him across the line, year 1. Not to disparage Pete's good name, as he continues to take shots on a weekly basis, despite never being here to defend himself. But congratulations, Pete, on the basketball championship. That is a victory very much for the good guys over the forces of evil. Okay, a lot to get to today. We're going to get to the Rotoworld Player news later in the show. We'll hit some NFL draft props. But first, Matthew, we're going to do a little DraftKings Best Ball rookie draft.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to go straight through it.
Now, to be clear, though, what we're doing, this is Superflex. You can explain it, but I just want to mention that this is Superflex.
Sure.
PPR scoring, Superflex.
Yep.
And the other way that we're doing it here is because, God forbid, we do a snake draft. The idea here is we're going to start with Lawrence. I got the last pick, of course. But instead of going so it's going to go Lawrence, Connor, Jay, myself. But instead of then me having pick 5 and doing a snake draft, we'll just restart with Lawrence. So the idea
As
here,
it should be.
All right. And the idea here is it's not the 4 of us in a league. The idea is that if you were up at the 1-5 spot, which Lawrence will be, and here are the 4 players that are off the board, what would you do at the 1-5 spot? So that's the idea of this draft. It's not really, quote, a league among the four of us, but merely each one of us, when it's our turn, taking the player that we would if we were drafting in that spot with the players available to us. So that's the idea.
I like that you're complaining about a mock draft that has no repercussions whatsoever. We're not going to start a league out of this.
Not tracking the scoring.
I'm just pointing out that once again I got screwed. I just want to point that out. I want America to know what I have to overcome.
We're all three people today. That's it.
Yeah, it's just, I know, but it's just, again, this is a mock draft league of assholes. It's just everything that I have to overcome.
Yes.
People don't understand.
Yes. 15-3 in the regular season. And,
yeah, exactly.
Still gets cooked. All right, Lawrence, kick us off. Who are you taking first overall?
Well, I don't think this will be a surprise to anyone in any league, in any format, any rookie draft. You're going to take Ashton Jeanty here. That's what I'm going to go with. You want to take the combination of best talent and best opportunity, and we fully expect that out of Ashton Jeanty no matter what team he gets drafted to.
And I'm going to piggyback off that with Omarion Hampton, right? Another running back that could go in the first round, is going to get a bulk of the workload right out of the gate. He's a really, really good pass protector and pass catcher, so you have a 3-down player here, NFL physicality. He's got enough breakaway speed to hit the long ones as well. Omarion Hampton is a phenomenal running back prospect in this draft and will be productive right away.
It feels like to me that if Ashton Jeanty weren't in this draft, he'd be the #1 running back going, like, and
clear cut.
Yeah, and no one would be like, it's a weak class. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it feels like, why am I blanking on it? But who came out the year Barkley came out? There was a running back that came out the year Barkley came out that would have been like
Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
second round.
Right. It was just sort of like if Barkley hadn't been in that class, Chubb's amazing, or was, at any rate. So, yeah, I mean, Hampton, I think, is something that it's going to be very exciting to see where he lands for fantasy.
Where do Jeanty and Hampton stack up historically in terms of running back prospects coming into the draft?
I mean, for me, the best I've ever evaluated is Saquon. I would say Jeanty is as close as you can be to that mark. I don't think he is as good, but as close as you could be. It's kind of the combo we had last year where Jamar Chase was the best receiver I've ever evaluated, but Marvin Harrison as a prospect was close to that. But it's crazy. Like, the gap between Jeanty and Hampton is not that big.
Right.
So that speaks to how special of a running back class it is that there are 2 first-rounders. I would say if you're looking, a lot of people like to draw up the Bijan and Gibbs class. They're different players than Bijan and Gibbs, which is why it's hard to do that. But if both these guys are almost expected to go in the first round now.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
And I feel like there's a chance they could both go in the first half of the first round.
Jeanty, top 10. And Hampton, maybe 20 to Denver.
I think it's because of the success of Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs saying, like, hey, we drafted them early, so maybe we could get back to that, Right.
I mean, but you could see a scenario, because I've seen Jeanty mocked to the Raiders in some places. Yeah. Like, if Jeanty goes to the Raiders, could the Cowboys take Hampton?
Absolutely. Right. That's where it starts for him.
Yeah.
Even the Bears at 10. I wouldn't say there's a non-zero chance. That's how special these two are, and it kind of takes away, and we're going to talk about all these guys. The day 2 running back group this year is as good as I've ever seen.
Yep.
But these two are so special that they take away the spotlight from all those guys.
Okay, speaking of special, pick 3, I'm going to take Tetairoa McMillan, which was a fairly easy choice for me. Clear. Seems to have separated himself, Connor, as wide receiver 1, and also a lot of landing spots in the first round where he can be a real alpha wide receiver and get a ton of usage.
That's what you love about him. Consistently caught touchdowns all 3 years of college, which is obviously going to lead to a lot of fantasy points because that's translatable at the next level. And McMillan, alpha wide receiver. You could funnel the offense through him. Good route runner for his size. Could play inside and outside, but really has perimeter size. And he improved after the catch this year. It's something he told me and Lawrence at the Super Bowl. He said a lot of people were wondering, why I don't make enough plays after the catch with the ball in my hands. And I showed them that week 1 out of the gate. Looked a lot better doing that as well. I like McMillan a lot. I would say the earliest he could be drafted is New England at 4. That's a real long shot. It's probably not going to happen. But I think depending on where Travis Hunter plays, he would be the most productive rookie wide receiver next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I buy that too. Do you see the interview that he did?
Yeah, it's from many years ago.
Okay.
Talking about the one where he said he
doesn't like watch film.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't know how old that was.
Yeah.
That was a thing for a day online.
That's
but
the worst example of the internet.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it's not. It's a lot of football players, especially high school and college, that don't enjoy watching film
by themselves.
Because most of the time it's after practice. Like, who want to do that? You probably got homework or something, and you don't want to do that either. But it's not a big deal. Hell, he's good.
Yeah, I know. But I was just going to say, have you heard from any of your sources, Connors, that is a red flag for any of the evaluators?
Nothing with the character. Teams are just don't think he's that fast. That's the number one thing I hear all the time. Like, I don't think he will be the first wide receiver drafted anymore. I think there's a chance that, once again, there's this Travis Hunter caveat that's hard, because if you evaluate him just as a wide receiver, he's the best wide receiver in this class, Travis Hunter. But the evaluations are on both sides of the ball. Matthew Golden has a shot to be the first wide receiver taken. I don't agree with that. Emeka Egbuka quietly could be the first wide receiver taken. But I think McMillan, I don't know what more you want. He's not slow. He's a sub 4.6 guy. He's got great size. He's got great ball skills. All those things translate to the NFL.
Yep.
He's a good route runner at that size.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, it's a Superflex league, and in Superflex leagues, what's key? Quarterbacks. So, since we can only pick from rookies, give me the only quarterback that we think is going to definitely start, and I think is definitely going to be good right out of the gate. So Cam Ward, you guys let him fall to me here at 4. This is a guy who set an NCAA Division I record for touchdown passes, right? And had 17 rushing touchdowns over his last 3 seasons. He runs more than you think he does in the red zone. Like, he's not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but the fact that he's not scared to run it when they get in close, I think gives you some cheap production. He's going to start right away, day one, I assume, for the Titans. You think about that offense, Brian Callahan, they want to push the ball down the field, and they're going to have some weapons around him. So I do think Cam Ward, of all the rookie quarterbacks, has the best chance at making an impact at the position, fantasy-wise, in his rookie year. Superflex, we're going to have to start too, so give me Cam Ward here at 4.
Yep. Yeah. Well done to Matthew for absorbing that it is a Superflex league, which is never a given when we do drafts with Matthew.
Yep.
But
yes,
you've taken a quarterback.
I just wanted to point that out. Well, if it wasn't a Superflex league, I'm probably not taking Cam Ward here. But I mean,
he'd have a long wait if it wasn't a Superflex league.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. But
and with that being said, seeing as how we've had 2 running backs taken, 1 wide receiver, my thought process here is to now kind of get the guy with the best positional guy, and Matthew just took him at with Cam Ward. Again, talent and opportunity. He has the best of both of those. So I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go a different position. I'm going to take Tyler Warren right here, tight end out of Penn State. Do it all guy, great hands, could run the ball from the shotgun, wildcat. This is where he's going to be valuable in fantasy, right? When you get near that goal line, and teams that don't want to use their quarterback, like everybody don't got a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen. Well, you bring in that big-ass Tyler Warren, he can do it all. And no matter which one of these teams he gets to, possibly the Jaguars, the Jets, the Colts, he'll be valuable, so I'll roll with him.
I love that pick. Another guy that just scores touchdowns. Ran for 4 this year. He caught double-digit touchdowns. He threw a touchdown. He was a high school quarterback. He's a great athlete. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns at the NFL level. I'm going to go with Quinshon Judkins.
Who would you compare Tyler Warren to?
I like the Jeremy Shockey throwback.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, just how violent they are after the catch. I mean, you get into dangerous waters when you start talking about Gronk. I know some people are gravitating to that one. I think Gronk's the greatest tight end of all time, so I just think it's a little
much.
It's a little much. You're setting the bar to an impossible level.
Gronk he was a second-round pick, too.
Right.
Quarterback reminds me of Peyton Manning type of thing.
Yeah. There's no way they'll ever achieve the expectations you're putting on them.
But do you think Tyler Warren, when we get into fantasy drafts in August, because of the success of Brock Bowers last year, who sort of shattered the whole perception of rookie tight ends, it's hard to make an impact, those are few and far between. Do you think Tyler Warren, and I guess it'll depend on landing spot somewhat, but is Tyler Warren going to be overdrafted this year?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I think he'll be overdrafted. I think Colston Loveland will be underdrafted.
Tyler Warren, though, one thing, though, he's probably going to go inside the top 10, right? But you saw Brock Bowers go 13. I feel like Brock Bowers went 13 because of Kyle Pitts. Now Tyler Warren has a chance to go inside the top 10 because of Brock Bowers. So it's just funny how the rookie tight ends work.
I feel like anytime we mention Kyle Pitts on the show, we should just immediately cut to the clip of him in Dubai, Justin Fields celebrating Justin Fields' contract because he hasn't done anything, And then what we should do is we should juxtapose Kyle Pitts drinking and partying in Dubai with Fields, and then cut to an empty weight room. You know, that's like, or a weight room that's filled with all NFL players except there's one empty bench.
Just show that draft class.
And it says tight end, and it's you know like there's the spot for the tight end, and he's like, yeah.
I think we just start putting him in all these celebration videos, like with the Gators, like, oh, there's Kyle Pitts.
Just happy for everyone.
Funny, yeah.
At the Masters.
That'd be great.
At the Masters.
There's Kyle Pitts on 18.
Down there?
Who's high-fiving Scheffler? Who's high-fiving Scheffler? That's Kyle Pitts.
Just everywhere, having a good old time.
All right, let's get back on track. Who you got next, Connor?
Oh, one last question though before we move up to Tyler Warren. Is that we didn't say up top, and I don't know the answer to this, Jay, but because you're the host, is this a Superflex league? Is this a tight end premium Superflex league? Which is, for those that don't know, tight end premium means you get extra points for the tight end.
Flip a coin. Let's say no, not a tight end.
No tight end premium.
Okay, after he takes.
I'm getting the word from the boss,
I want Tyler Warren regardless.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Here you go, Connor.
Next for me, Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State running back. I mean, just a battering ram between the tackles. I think he'll be a second-round pick. I think he'll be a lead back where he goes. I really like the Bears at 39 or 41 to look at Quinshon Judkins, assuming they don't get Jeanty. I just think that, you saw him in a committee this year with TreVeyon, Henderson, and Ohio State, but you go back to the 2 years at Ole Miss where he broke over 70 tackles each year. This is a really, really strong downhill runner. I think he's got more on the bone as a receiving back as well. Classic case, like Jeanty and Hampton are special. If they're not in this class, Judkins is getting propped up more. But once again, losing some of that spotlight because of the guys in front of him and the fact that he transferred to a place where he was in a work share. But he's very, very efficient. He's very strong, and I think he's underrated right now, to be honest with you.
Okay, let's take a look at our first 6 picks.
Okay.
This draft, Ashton Jeanty, 1, no surprise, Omarion Hampton, Tetairoa McMillan, Cam Ward, Tyler Warren, and Quinshon Judkins, fairly chalky. And for the next pick, I'm going to take Travis Hunter, who Adam Schefter is reporting is the most likely pick at number 2 overall for the Browns. And Connor and I talked about this back at the Combine not that long ago.
Connor, what's your best bet in this market?
I'm going with the board here and taking the Browns at plus 350. I think that's a pretty good number, all things considered.
Why isn't this just a coin flip?
A lot of people think Abdul Carter is going number 1 overall, or that if somebody trades with the Titans, they're coming up for Cam. So if the scenario number 1 is Cam or Abdul Carter, I mean, I'm looking at Travis Hunter and thinking he goes there at 2.
No, I'm with you, Connor. Plus 350 Browns. That's the bet. That's the bet for me. I think that's the most logical thing. I think the Browns will take Carter or Ward, and then Hunter falls to Cleveland.
Nice call. Good price there, because the price is very different now.
I think it's minus 300.
Minus 300.
So you locked in it at plus 350. Well done there, Connor Rogers. And I guess you're thinking here with this pick that if he's going to the Browns, he's going to play primarily wide receiver or play enough wide receiver to be fantasy relevant.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing Kevin Stefanski at the Combine talk about Travis Hunter, where I think he understood that, he is such a talent that you need to play him both ways and give him the chance to be Ohtani-esque. But we'll see. Do you think that if they do play him primarily wide receiver, is he going to get cornerback packages, or how's this going to work?
That's a weird one, right? Like, that's something it's hard to go in defensive meetings like that. It's hard to, and he's not going to go, I don't think, play the slot. He's an outside corner, in my opinion. Do you play him at free safety? Like, what is?
He could do that.
I think he could do that. It's not even I think he could do that. The ball skills of free safety would be insane.
He probably more of like a roamer.
Right.
Anyway,
So maybe that's the way you do it. I don't think you're saying, hey, go be our number 1 corner for 15 plays. Yeah. That's not translatable. But being a free safety on the back end with ball hawking range.
That makes more sense versus, because I'd always thought what would happen here is that a team would say, like, you're going to be our number 1 corner.
Right.
And then we're going to have a package of plays for you as a wide receiver. We're going to have a set package, whether it's 10 snaps, 15 snaps, whatever. We're going to have a package of plays. And that, for our purposes, while you're like, oh, he's not going to play a ton of snaps, the fact is you're not bringing Travis Hunter out there on a run play or to run wind sprints. Chances are that if Travis Hunter's on the field in a pass play, he's one of the first reads on that play. And so even if he's only playing 15 snaps as an offensive weapon, chances are he's going to see the ball 8, 9, 10 times, and that might be enough, right? And so for him to be a productive wide receiver 3, 2-ish in that range, again, at the moment, Kenny Pickett's the one throwing him the ball. So,
look, we've seen him take screens to the house. Kenny Pickett, can you throw a damn screen? I think you can. I think you can do that. But Travis Hunter, I just don't. see how you've seen him play football for these years and just say very little offense. I just can't imagine that. And we've started guys in fantasy, like you said, they're wide receiver 3 type of guys who play 20-ish snaps per game, but they may get 6, 7, 8, 9 opportunities with the football.
Yep. And so you think he's clearly the best wide receiver in the class?
I do. Yeah. So I mean, to put it in perspective, if the Browns take him and play him a wide receiver, you just got the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
You got a guy that should have went where you took Tetairoa McMillan.
Yep.
But we don't know that as for certain yet.
Yep.
Right.
So there's a little risk here.
So in your second round, you got a great pick, but you effed up your first pick, is what I'm hearing from Connor.
Yes.
You completely blew your first pick. You should have taken Hunter.
Yeah,
or you have 2 great receivers.
And there were 3 picks in between where you guys didn't take Travis Hunter as well.
Well, and honestly, that's one of the dangers here with this when you're doing a draft. And by the way, I'm in a draft next week for one of my dynasty leagues where we do the draft before their NFL team, which it always gets dicey there. So you just sort of have to you just draft talent and hope.
Have you done any mocks in that scenario? Because I have, and Travis Hunter's going 9 to 12. And without knowing the team, obviously he's going at 9 to 12. So if you take him at 7, it's like you kind of getting ahead of the curve right now before you know the team. Because if you know the team, you're probably taking them where you took Tetairoa McMillan.
And the other thing I'll say is because right now the people if you're drafting now, chances are you're either doing best ball or you are drafting dynasty. You're doing your rookie dynasty drafts. Connor, do you think as you project out Travis Hunter and we think about it, feels like, could you see a scenario where maybe he starts out being primarily a corner or free safety, as he's saying, then he's got a package that plays a wide receiver, but as his career goes on, then maybe he does more wide receiver? Because I sort of feel like, anecdotally, wide receivers have a longer shelf life, that it's a position where you can last in the NFL longer.
And the pay is significantly better.
Right.
So that's a problem as well. There's a chance. It's going to, because the reality is he has no control over his situation right now, right? And he's been vocal, rightfully so. I want to play both sides full time, all of that stuff. But there will be a couple years from now when you get back to the bargaining table, because you could do that after 3 years of being an NFL veteran, that he will have control. He could say, I will go into free agency as a wide receiver, or I will. So there will be a time where he has that overall control. It's going to be fascinating to watch Travis Hunter, because I think he is truly hell-bent on trying to play both ways, at least the first couple years of his NFL career. And I mean, I'm not betting against this guy anymore. I'm just done. What more do I need to see to just? It'd be really hard physically on the body, but we'd be here on this desk the first couple of years talking about him in fantasy every single week.
Yep. Yeah. All right. What's your next pick, Matthew?
All right. Well, so again, not my next pick, because again, if you'd listened to the premise at the top, it's just as if I was for the first time picking 1-8. It's not a 4-person league.
Okay, noted.
Right.
All noted.
Yes, all right, fine. It's for the love of God. You have one job.
Yeah.
Producer Pete will be scoring this league, by the way.
I'm sure he will be. I'm sure producer Pete. Well, anything not to talk to his kids. Yeah. Let's be clear. Now that he's won the basketball championship, he's like, now what do I have to do?
I'm scoring the mock draft from Fantasy Football Happy Hour in April.
Not you, kid number 2. I don't have time. I'm scoring something here. Well, that's what I've understood is that he's got them numbers. You know what I mean? It's just easier than learning their names.
They wear T-shirts?
Yeah, he's 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. It used to be Georgia. Now it's just number 1.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I'm going to go with somebody that I thought Connor, you could have taken at 6 when you went Judkins, and because I think him and TreVeyon Henderson are sort of right there next to each other, right? This is a guy who's just a home run hitter, very good pass protector, so I think he's somebody that could immediately be kind of a 3-down back. Somebody who's dealt with injuries, obviously, in college, so I don't think you're suddenly going to see him getting the ball 20, 25 times a game. But because of his speed and because of his pass protection, I think he'll be very valuable in PPR formats. And I think to me, high upside case is Devon Achane. Just somebody who gets the ball 15 times a game, but again, one of those is a 40-yard run, and he's got a shot at taking it to the house anytime.
You want him to catch the ball. That's what you want him to do, is catch the ball. And Ohio State was really careful with him this year. It's probably why they went out and probably spent a lot of NIL money to get Judkins there to have that 1-2 punch. And when it brings home a national title, you feel pretty good about those investments. With TreVeyon, you could see him motion out wide. He's a guy that truly can win down the field as a receiver. But he averaged, they like to keep him around 11 to 12 touches a game. He had that foot injury a couple years ago. It really slowed him down. So it's that weird one where when he's on the field, he can go the distance anytime.
Definitely.
But he won't be on the field at a workhorse rate. So that's the debate between him and Judkins. And it's a tough one and will be dictated by landing spots, which we don't know right now.
Yeah, but I could see him, I literally could see him on the Commanders, right? I feel like his skip, no, because they want to play with speed. They want to play fast. Like they want a pass-catching running back as well. Broncos, I could see.
That's the two places you want him to go to.
Yeah.
I think Commanders and Chiefs
could be interesting
live for a running back like him.
I mean, Broncos too. I mean, Sean Payton likes pass-catching running backs.
They'll take a running back early this year.
Yeah, and so it's just whether is it a grinder like Hampton, or is it somebody that like that they feel like they can use in the passing game more. So just really interesting to see where he lands. But very excited about TreVeyon Henderson. I've had a number of people tell me that I've had one person tell me that they have Henderson at 2 after Jeanty, that they would have him above Judkins and even above Hampton.
The health is why I just couldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. It's been a lingering issue.
I ain't mad at that either.
No. His highs will be as good as anyone in this draft. It's just staying on the field.
Okay. Who are you taking 9, Lawrence?
Yeah, so when Quinshon Judkins went at 6, I actually thought TreVeyon Henderson was going to last a couple more picks to get to me. He didn't, since it's his Superflex. So we took Cam Ward already. He's going to start for the Titans, deservingly so. I'm going to go with my favorite quarterback in the draft, Shedeur Sanders. Now, nobody really knows anything at this point as far as where he's going to go. But when we don't know what team he's on, but in my mind, I'm thinking I feel like he could walk in day one, start for the Browns, start for the Steelers, possibly start for the Saints, and probably even the Giants too. So I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders here in this Superflex situation since I got sniped for TreVeyon Henderson.
Well, Sanders once again fell in the draft.
Yeah.
It seems like he's
he's
going to fall in the NFL draft. He fell in our draft.
I hope he does.
Yeah,
Redemption will be sweet.
Yeah.
I mean revenge. Which word am I supposed to use there, Jay?
You can use either. Well, it
Here we
depends
go.
the flavor that you want.
Right.
Redemption, the warmer one.
You're going to be rooting for a Shedeur Sanders renaissance.
Yes.
Renaissance. Yeah.
Renaissance. That's the word I should have used.
Your renaissance.
Yeah. Renaissance. I mean, I think
Renaissance never took on.
Renaissance did not. Although maybe it could now in New York. We've got another chance at a Renaissance for your New York Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
He might go with that if you got word to him.
Yeah, he's available
video,
for
It's the Renaissance in New York.
22-1 to win the division.
Yeah.
If there's always
No,
So nice time to play it twice.
What you need, he won't do that. Russ won't. I don't think Russ won't. He's too humble. He won't. No, he won't get on the thing and be like, his thing's always about team. Like, Broncos country, let's ride. He's not going to be like, it's a Renaissance. But what you need,
I hope he doesn't say that.
What you need, Jay Connor, allow me to explain to you how to manipulate the media here.
Okay.
Here's what you need is you need somebody who's in the New York media that's listened to. So I would turn to Connor Rogers and I'd say, listen, you have friends in the New York media that people listen to. I mean, he's in the New York media, but I'm saying like people that the people listen to.
Right.
Yes.
Like maybe Connor could get word to Todd Zeal.
Yes.
And say, hey, Emmy Award-winning Todd Zeal.
Right, on Mets pregame.
Right. And just say,
what the payoff would be.
right. And just ask one of the guys that you work with, one of the guys that you work with at SNY that people listen to, that and throw out the idea, if the Giants win a game, it's a Renaissance, or if Russ looks good early, have them sort of, let's make that happen. It's a Renaissance, and we can also try to work it in this show and try to make it happen. Let's make it happen. It's somewhat dependent on Russell Wilson playing well.
I'm about to say, what happened if Jameis
start.
Winston ended up as the starter? Then what do we do?
It's not a Renaissance. That's what it is.
Yes.
We wanted a Renaissance. It's not a Renaissance.
Let's see if Todd Zeal can start that on Mets postgame. He could go from there. All right, what's your
He's
next
an
pick?
Emmy Award winner, Jay. There's nothing he can't do.
That's very true.
Okay, what's your pick, Connor?
Go Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, who, man, it goes back to the Jeanty-Hampton conversation. It's the same with Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Maybe the best hands in the draft, really good route runner, kind of fascinated to see where he goes. If he ends up at Denver at 20, the Chargers at 22, I think he can go as early to the Colts at 14. Loveland will be drafted really, really high. He could very well be more productive as a rookie than Tyler Warren because Warren will be asked to block more than Loveland will.
Okay. Pick 11, I'm taking Luther Burden, who at one point I think was potentially going to be wide receiver 1. Seems to be some character concerns, which are potentially overblown. We don't know, but certainly a lot of variance.
That's why you want to draft him. Character concerns.
No, it's an inefficiency.
You'll bet on those guys?
I'm like the Titans.
He's
whatever.
Fellow degenerates. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I mean, when I started this process last summer, he was my number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
He had over 1,200 yards in 2023. He was dynamic inside and outside his first 2 years at Missouri. It's just a down year and a lot of ugly on tape where you're buying back in 2023 Luther Burden. That's why you're getting him here, Jay.
Yeah.
If he had repeated 2023, he'd be a top 4 pick in this draft.
Wow.
In this draft.
I want
real
a
draft.
No.
Yeah, the mock draft.
Yeah, the mock draft.
Fantasy.
Yeah, I was hoping Burden would fall to me because I knew you would screw up and take Sanders. And
I'm just go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm teasing.
You needed it to be a snake draft.
I needed it to be a snake draft.
Savage today.
Anyway.
Matthew Savage.
Yeah,
Darnell
exactly.
Savage over here.
Sanders is gonna be fine.
Matthew Jaquan Berry
Especially if he's not going.
Matthew Jaquan. Hey,
Yeah.
Wikipedia, update that back. His middle name is Jaquan.
Jaquan. That's right.
That was real Jaquan of you right there, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, just to the entire Sanders family, that was more about making fun of my friend Lawrence than it was any disrespect to the Sanders family.
Very scared.
I don't want Deion coming after me.
My goodness.
I don't need Deion coming after me.
He gonna hit you with that Bible verse. You better watch
100%.
out.
Well, we saw here's what I will say. Remember when you saw, there's a whole thing going on between LeBron and Stephen A., and it starts.
This could be good for you.
No, it
versus
starts
Deion.
because it starts with LeBron James as a father defending his son Bronny, which you completely understand. Deion Sanders obviously is a very proud father and not shy about voicing his opinions. Like Deion is going to get into a media fight with somebody, around Shedeur. I feel like that's absolutely going to happen.
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, he was going back and forth with the reporters throughout the college season.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so I think especially, by the way, if Sanders were to land in somewhere like New York, and if he lands where there's a hostile media environment, certainly I think there'll be some fireworks. But anyway, you snaked me out of Luther Burden. So I'm going to go, you know what? This is one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years on this show. One thing I've learned is that the name Matthew is a winner. That's a winning name. That's a winning name. When if you'd gone into our fantasy football league each of the last 2 years and said, I'm just picking Matthew, you would have won because I am our back-to-back champion as well. So give me Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas, fastest 40 at the combine, somebody who feels like Connor, who's really sort of risen up draft boards. He's had a very good pre-draft process here as well. And so I think the speed, I get it. He's never had a 1,000-yard season in college, I think, but he is somebody that is a true field stretcher and can make an immediate impact. I think he's going to have mid-first-round draft capital, so he's going to get opportunity. I think he's going in the first round, and so you like those wide receivers that had that first-round draft capital. That it'll depend on landing spot. Could he go to the Cowboys? Could he go to the Seahawks? You wouldn't love him at the Chargers. I could see him on the Chargers. You wouldn't love it because of their run-first nature, but Matthew Golden at 112 for me.
Okay, let's recap. Picks 7 through 12. I took Travis Hunter, 7. Then Matthew took TreVeyon. Henderson, Shedeur Sanders, alleged home pick. Next for Lawrence, then Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, the third, and Matthew Golden to round out 7 through 12. Sanders, very controversial. By the way, if LeVar Ball is watching, Matthew says that LaMelo can't play defense.
And LiAngelo can't.
By the way,
he was
Matthew,
saying that at length before the show.
how would you handle that type of situation, like the LeBron, Stephen A. thing? What if prime time came at you? How would you handle that?
Poorly.
You'd fold.
I think poorly is the correct answer. I think
like a Jenga stack.
I think I might try to bait him into hitting me, because then I don't have to do this dumb show anymore. Then I just retire on Dion Island, and because there's a lawsuit, and he's a very wealthy man, Lawrence.
Bait him.
Yeah, I just try to bait him into sucker punching me. Hopefully, there's some cameras around, and
There
then,
always is.
Yeah,
Always
and
a
then,
camera.
and I think that's how I would handle it. I think if I'm being honest here, I think poorly is the correct answer, and I think that if I got confronted the way that, this whole Steven thing, if like Dion found me somewhere and confronted me, I would fold like a card table. I would Dion, I was misquoted.
Like an icy pole on a 100-degree day.
I would be like, I was misquoted. You saw it out of context. What are you talking about? I love you, man. Prime time. Come on.
Start doing it.
Oh my God.
Come on. I would fold like a cheap chair.
He start doing all the dances and everything.
1,000%.
I got a jersey.
I got a jersey. I might. You know what I might do?
Shows
I'm gonna
up
go.
with his
I'm
shoes
gonna go
on the next show.
I'm gonna buy a Buffs.
I got the Dion's on.
I'm gonna buy a Buffs T-shirt and just wear it under my clothes at all times.
Good idea.
So that if this ever happens, I can just be like, no, dude, look, seriously.
I'm a supporter.
Let's go.
Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah,
come on. I might, and you know what I should do is a Buffs and the sunglasses, whatever the sunglass line is that he promotes, and it'll be like, no, Prime. No, look, man, come on. Go Buffs.
You might have to do this.
I might have to.
All right.
I'd have to. And then I pull out my insurance card. Look, man, I'm Affleck. Look, man, I'm Affleck. And then I'm like, here's, I got some KFC. Dude, I'm all in. Yeah, all of his sponsors.
Sponsor he did.
Yeah. Every commercial he's done, 100%.
Walk around with some of your popcorn chicken in your back pocket. Very on brand.
I'm gonna have to. I'll have to replace the KFC on a daily basis, but I could wear the Buff shirt every day. So that's what would happen.
Let's get back on the rails. Let's go speed round here, Lawrence. Who are you taking?
Emeka Egbuka, and it was just reported that he met up and had workouts with the Packers and Cowboys. I think he would fit well with either one of those teams, especially the Cowboys. He could play that slot. He'll stay on the field longer. He's one of the better blocking receivers in this draft, so you like him there in the intermediate to short area.
All right, I'll go Jayden Higgins, another wide receiver that should be on the radar for teams like the Packers at the back of round 1 or could go round 2 here. Size, played inside and outside, great tracking, really good Senior Bowl, super productive over the last 2 years. I'm really high on Jayden Higgins. He's my wide receiver 3.
Okay. 15, I will take Kaleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. Potential third rounder, but an epic, deep running back draft class. A lot of teams that need a running back, so not inconceivable that he could walk into a starting role.
No, not at all. He's fallen because of his 40 time, and I don't think that's a good approach. I think Kaleb Johnson's a ball player. I think you kind of root for him to go to a team like the Steelers that run a lot of zone concepts. So, yeah, I think it could be a starting back right away.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and as you get sort of into this part of the draft, I feel like the wide receivers are a little bit more of a dart throw. There's guys that I like, but a little bit more of a dart throw. And because the running back class is so strong, I think I'd rather
starters across the board.
Starters still, and so this one's also just more of a fun one. Cam Skattebo. I'm going to take Cam Skattebo. Yeah. Just a fun player to root for. I think he'll just be fun having on my team. I think he's a better pass catcher than he gets credit for. I think when you watch Skattebo highlights, everyone sees players bouncing off of him, and you see the beast mode type runs that he does. But this is a guy that had over 600 receiving yards in college. He's a better pass catcher than I think people give him credit for. And so I think if he goes to a team where there's opportunity, because he does need volume, but where there's opportunity, especially opportunity in the passing game, I think he could be really interesting and somebody that could be fantasy productive immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, another slot receiver, except this guy, he could take you deep. He's got that long speed to get vertical in the seams, ran a 4.39 at the combine. So Iowa State really working with 2 good receivers here in this draft.
I'll go back to the running back well here with Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. Just speed, shifty, explosive year at Tennessee. I think he's really, really impressive in space. He got his opportunity in that offense, and he was phenomenal. So he keeps our run going of guys that I think will be starters at some point of their rookie season.
Okay, let's take a look at picks 13 through 18. Emeka Egbuka at 13, Jayden Higgins, who Connor is very high on at 14, Kaleb Johnson, as we mentioned, could be a starting running back straight out of the draft at 15, then Cam Skattebo, Matthew took, Jalen, Noel, and Dylan Sampson. This is a much deeper skill position class than when we've done these in the past, getting starting running
we're going to have a lot of names left out of this draft that will be fantasy relevant. That speaks to the class, the depth of the class.
Yep. Okay, well, a guy who may or may not be fantasy relevant, but given that it is Superflex and I don't have a quarterback or haven't taken one, Jaxson Dart who I think has a wide range of outcomes, and it depends really where he lands. I think there are worlds where if he ends up on a team like the Browns or the Saints and it doesn't work out with Derek Carr, or even in some worlds with the Giants, like he is seemingly has separated himself as the clear third quarterback in this class, and there are still some teams that need quarterbacks, so not inconceivable that he could play himself into a role at some point during the year.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think day one he's starting quarterback. Cam Ward's going to be a starting quarterback day one. Shedeur Sanders likely a starting quarterback, possibly a starting quarterback day one. But I do think we see Jaxson Dart start some games this year at some point. So, so I like that pick. I'm going to go with Trey Harris. You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody 1,000 yards in just 8 games last year. He's really good against man coverage. Feels like I know there's some question marks here, but I feel like, again, depending on draft capital and where he lands, he could be a special player.
The ball skills are insane. Like, he'll make a catch around the back of a guy's helmet to bail out a bad throw by Jaxson Dart. Trey Harris is one of those guys where you look at him and you go, okay, I don't think he's that fast. He's big enough. I'll just bet on him. I'll bet on him to find a way. And the toughness is on a different level. They'd ask him to crack down on linebackers and ends. He's a player I really, really like. Situation will be big for him because he wanted to get targets, but I could see Trey Harris being a top 5 receiver in this class, and the injury this year kind of hurt his stock.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I'm going Roll Tide. Baby Roll Tide. Jalen Milroe. This is super flex, man. Like, and as we're sitting here today, before the actual NFL draft, when you hear stuff like he's going to be at the draft, he accepted his invite, he's had meetings with teams like the Saints and the Browns. If you're in a dynasty rookie draft and you could get him here in a super flex league, now you're going to draft him knowing that he's not going to start day one. But year 2, it could pop off. But that's what dynasty is all about. Right. Sometimes you had to wait it out. Jalen Milroe is someone we got to, see be more consistent, and he got to get some things refined. But, you pick him, and the highs could be like the greatest thing fantasy football ever seen. So
wide range of outcomes for Milroe. He's got to clean some stuff up. But there is a chance, there is a non-zero chance that 2 years from now we're talking about him in the same breath as the Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurtses of the world. Like, this is a guy that had 20 rushing touchdowns. Like,
Hurts is what you really hope for here.
Right, yeah. I mean,
second-round pick that turns into something a couple years down the road.
Yeah, like I actually, dynasty-wise,
more explosive than him, too.
Oh, yeah.
Again, if I didn't need somebody this year, dynasty-wise, I prefer Milroe over Dart, and I prefer Milroe possibly over Sanders.
Oh, I don't think it's close in fantasy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you're right, again, talking about fantasy football, like, because Milroe's going to run so much, and, like, he's probably going to be a better fantasy quarterback than NFL quarterback. But, like, if he can be just good enough in the NFL to keep his job,
stay on the field,
then I think massive fantasy points, massive fantasy potential for Jalen Milroe. So I was hoping he would fall to me. I like that pick.
All right, my last pick, I'm going to take Jack Bech, the wide receiver out of TCU. Really, really good possession player, 220 pounds, former tight end, just finds ways to get open against zone, reliable hands. Bech is somebody that could be a really, really high-end wide receiver 3 in this league.
Okay, pick 23, I'm going to take Bhayshul Tuten, running back out of Virginia Tech, who I know you like a lot.
Yeah, he's probably going to end up as my, I was really high on Tyrone Tracy last year as a sleeper running back. Bhayshul Tuten's probably going to fit the bill of that. He's got to keep the ball off the ground. The fumbles have been a problem, but electric speed. You get him in a wide zone run scheme like Miami. Maybe you get him to one of these places where he can sneak in some touches. Big playability is what you like with Bhayshul Tuten. There's more on the bone as a pass catcher. They didn't use him as one. He showed at the Senior Bowl that he's got a good route tree, good hands. Tuten's an impressive player.
And Mr. Irrelevant for our mock draft here, I'm going with the Kansas State running back DJ Giddens. Okay, here's the entire list in FBS. Over the last 2 years, here's the entire list of running backs that have at least 1,200 yards rushing and at least 250 receiving yards each of the last 2 seasons. DJ Giddens. That's it. That's the list. Like, just somebody like a true three-down player, had an absolutely great combine. So he's somebody that I think saw his draft stock rise over the last couple of months here.
Did you pick him as another shot at the Sanders family? I think he juked Shiloh out of his shoes.
Yeah.
It's one of the highlights of the entire draft. It felt like that was a subtle dig at the Sanders family.
I think so, too.
I love the Buffs. Come on.
Affleck.
All right, let's take a look at the top remaining rookies, for the love of God. Okay, guys who we did not draft. Devin Neal, RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez, Isaiah Bond, Alec Iomanor, Ollie Gordon II, Harold Fannin Jr., Kyle Williams, Brashad Smith, and Jalen Royals. We'll talk about these guys over the course of the offseason. We're going to hit our first break. When we come back, some player news, including Matthew's previous ride or die, Kyler Murray.
Fannin's really interesting.
The free NBC Sports Now channel is your home for NFL Draft Month with more than 100 hours of draft programming throughout April. Daily draft coverage includes PFT Live, The Dan Patrick Show, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Plus, tune in for NFL Draft Ranking Specials with Connor Rogers and updated mock drafts premiering every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, go to NBCSports.com/now. Okay, let's hit the Rotoworld Player news, where we heard from Kyler Murray on potentially running more in 2025.
I feel like I have to run more next year. You know, I'm open to running more next year, just because it's such a weapon. You know, it's such a weapon. It's, you know, defense is, it's like when I hand the ball off. Obviously, I hand the ball off to James, so it's not like, you know, I hand the ball off to Trey. You know, we're a very good, you know, rushing team, which is a great thing. But when Lamar hands the ball off, everybody's like, oh, like, you know, you take it, you can relax. You know, Josh hands the ball off, you know what I mean? So I think for us, part of an emphasis going into the next season is conceptually on time. I feel like I'm one of the best in the league. Mm-hmm. You know, I think where we get better is, you know, making things happen outside the pocket when plays break down. I think we need to be better there. You look at Josh. You know, I watched Josh and I watched Lamar. I watched the tape. Even Burrow does a really good job of making things happen when things break down. But that's where a lot of money's made. You know what I mean? Is scramble drill and making people hurt, making people pay when the play breaks down. And I think that's something that we didn't do very well. And I think we're very capable, especially with my ability to, you know, make things happen.
Okay, Kyler Murray. Matthew, could have used that last year.
Yes, Matthew could have very much used that last year. That's why Ride or Die was more die than ride, because he just didn't run.
Not deceased, though.
No, not deceased. He was fine. He ended up being a top 10 quarterback. You know, like ultimately, you know, just didn't.
It's like a C+.
Exactly. He was fine. He didn't kill you. It wasn't a home run pick the way the previous ones have been, and it was all about the rushing, right? Career low 4.6 rush attempts per game last year. Had only 17% of the team's red zone rushes, just 7% of the goal-to-go rushes. Both of those also career lows. And it's weird because when he did run, he was effective. He actually averaged 7.3 yards per carry. That was a career high. But they just didn't do it a lot. And I think there was a couple of reasons for it. Number one is they have a ton of trust in James Conner. Lawrence and I actually at the Combine, we talked to one of the people on the Cardinals offensive staff, and we asked him about this directly. We had a kind of off-the-record conversation, and just basically, and it was a lot of what he just alluded to, what Kyler, that just, they were nervous about the knee, that they didn't feel like he was fully healthy there. They were being overly protective of the knee. And they love James Conner. You know, real talk, they love James Conner in the goal line. They feel like if they get in close and they give it to James Conner, they're scoring. So I think those two things just sort of manifested itself. But it's good to hear that Kyler feels 100% healthy and that they're going to run more. And certainly the sources that I talked to at Arizona certainly emphasize that as well, that they think that they recognize that was a missing piece of their offense last year, and they're going to make more of an emphasis to try to do designed runs around Kyler.
Would you run it back?
As my ride or die?
Like knowing what we talked about at the Combine, then hearing that, it's like that's a
great question. Should I be look?
That would be first.
That would be amazing if I did that. If I just owned it, I'm like, look, ride or die means ride or die. I have to ride this out until I can
truly die.
Right.
Look, you. Marvin
Probably
Harrison
not.
Jr., a little better, you know. So.
All right, well, another ride or die candidate, Tutu Atwell.
On the short list.
He's on the short list.
Will be on the field a lot more next season. Connor, do you think that this means anything or just coach speak?
No, because they have Devontae Adams in town now. There's two things here. One, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are on this team, right? So that's a lot of targets right there. And credit to Tutu Atwell. He's been a better NFL player than I ever expected at that size. He's a complete outlier. But you need to be able to block in this offense to be on the field. Puka's excellent at that. Cooper Kupp's been really good at that before he left. And Devontae will be serviceable at that, where that limits how often Atwell could be on the field.
The only counter I'll say to that is last year, the Rams used 11 personnel on 82% of their plays last season. That was the third highest rate in the NFL. And we have seen over the last 2 years moments of fantasy relevancy for Demarcus Robinson. You also add in the fact that Devontae Adams on the other side of 30, Puka Nacua has dealt with injuries throughout his career. And so do I want to build my draft strategy around Tutu Atwell? No, I do not. But do I think there are worse last round in the draft picks than Tutu Atwell? Yeah, best ball makes a ton of sense, but also in a deeper league. I'm just saying I think you can go ahead and clip this. I bet you there will be weeks during this upcoming season that we are talking about free agency and we're like, hey, Tutu Atwell's out there in 56% of leagues and you should pick him up.
Okay, last note for us before we hit our break. Julio Jones announced his retirement. Lawrence Jackson is repping.
Julio.
Fantasy legend.
Hey, man, one of the best. How many guys out there have a 300-yard game besides, like, Calvin Johnson?
Yep.
Julio, ATL, GOAT.
Okay.
7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, ranks 5th in NFL history in receiving yards, fantasy superstar. Much love to Julio Jones on his retirement.
Last call next. The DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 sportsbook for live betting, and new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just download the app and use the promo code BERRY when you sign up. The DraftKings Sportsbook, the crowd
Crowd is yours.
All right, let's
Sorry,
take a look
Lawrence.
at
It's
the
yours.
odds for the players we drafted in the top 5. All right, Mason Graham is -165. I'm going chalk here. I'm taking Will Campbell +105. Think that both the Patriots or the Jags, the potential landing spots at 4 and 5. Lawrence, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Ashton Jeanty at +800. A lot of mock drafts have him going 6 to the Raiders. So if you could go 6, you could go 5. You could go 4, especially to the Patriots. They don't have a running back. Browns, they don't have a running back. So give me Jeanty.
I'm going to chase some value here like Lawrence did. I'm going to go Tyler Warren at 10-1, +1,000 here. There's a long shot that, not a long shot, a decent shot New England trades out of 4. A team could come up for Tyler Warren. Jacksonville could take Tyler Warren at 5. I think these odds are pretty good value.
I'm sticking with that same shot. I'm taking 11-1 at Tetairoa McMillan because I think New England needs a wide receiver desperately. The free agents didn't go the way we want. So give me Tetairoa McMillan at 11-1. I think he goes to the Patriots. Anything for you? All right. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Lawrence, Connor, and Jay, I'm Matthew. Congrats to Pete. Sorry to Dion. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.